and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Avon Van Hassel and I'm a self-published author. If you are an aspiring writer, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I'm here every week to give you tips and tricks to try in your own writing. Now I think we are in or starting week 3 of Camp Nano, April edition of 2021. Week 2 is kind of like the sophomore slump of Nano. It's when people will start to drop out. There's a certain type of writer, we call them pantsers, because they write by the seat of their pants. And they tend to have a ton of great ideas, a ton of lovely, really crazy ideas, and they hit the ground running. They just start writing, they have all these ideas, they're just nonstop. And the problem with this is that because they don't keep outlines, at a certain point, they kind of start to run out of ideas, or they don't really see how their ideas are going to join up, don't really have a plan for the end a lot of times, and it's just, to me, I think it's very impractical. I've seen a lot of people do this, and they do it well, and they enjoy the hell out of it, but for me, it's like walking a tightrope without a net. I can't imagine. They have another type of person, which is called a plotter. Plotters they're more measured, they're slower, they tend to have very detailed outlines, like pages and pages. They will have character notes, they will have setting research. If they're writing anything historical, they'll have all of their books, Plotters tend to have an end game, but I feel like a lot of times they don't have that rush of creativity, so I think they lose interest sometimes because all of that work is front-loaded, and they do all that work before the month even starts, and then by the time the month starts, they've kind of, and they don't really ever get that spark. So it's very slow and steady, but kind of, and I feel like a lot of them feel like they're writing really isn't, you don't have that spark of creative genius. Then you have a third person called a plantser. I hate that word, but I didn't make it up. That's the word. And this is kind of a combination of both. And I like this because you have the structure of a plotter, but with room for magic. And room for magic is my whole brand. So you have enough of an outline and enough research done in advance that you know where you're going, you know how to get there, but you kind of let the scenes tell themselves. The problem with this is that sometimes there's too much room for magic. It's finding the balance. And I'm one of those people that will obsess over a scene forever. And then I'll write it, and then I'll write the rest of the book, and I'll realize that my favorite scene doesn't fit at all. And it has to go, because sometimes they gotta go. But the good news is sometimes those become the free short stories and novellas, so actually everybody wins. So you probably fall into one of those 3 categories. And if in week 3 you're kind of starting to flag, my advice to you is to take inspiration from one of the other camps. Right? If you are a pantser and you're out of ideas, now is a great time to write the outline. Now, here's the trick to Nano. Don't delete anything. I know you want to. I know you're a perfectionist. I know you're an artist and you hate having stuff in your work that isn't perfect. I know. I get it. But no one is reading this. No one is going to know that you wrote the same scene 3 times, just slightly different. No one will know. Nano is about quantity over quality. You can always edit next month. You can rewrite next month. You can scrap the whole thing and start over in July if you want. Don't delete anything. So, if you've run out of ideas, literally where you are, literally in the middle of the screen, in the middle of the page, in the scene, start writing your outline, because this is going to answer so many questions and it's going to fix so many problems, and you're going to have that eureka moment where all of a sudden you know where to go and what to do. My dogs are barking. Not my feet, my actual dogs are barking. Okay. So, if you're a pantser, try to write a plot. Write a outline. Be a plotter for a second. If you're a plotter, here's where one of my favorite things comes in. And it's called a plot ninja. Or a story ninja. A ninja, right? It occurs to me that might be culturally insensitive, and if it is, I apologize. That's the term. We should come up with a better one. Anyway, basically, it's a spanner in the works, right? Just do something completely crazy. Like, what would your characters do if a giraffe just walked down the street? And then chase the giraffe for 1,000 words or so. You look at where your story's going, and if it just doesn't have that spark anymore, what does it need? What does it need to have that spark? Maybe try something like stream of consciousness where you just shut off your logic and just write whatever comes to you. And I kid you not, one of my favorite things to do is to sit there and literally type out, I don't know what to write. I've run out of ideas. It's 10:30 at night and I'm 5 days behind. And just keep bitching basically about what your problems are, and then start brainstorming with yourself, because inevitably it happens. So when you're at that point when you're like, I have 15,000 words to make up, and well, maybe if I tried such and such, and then the ideas will start flowing. That's my bread and butter. That's where it happens. So there's also a strategy called the empty chair, which this is a lot of times used for character creation. I might go into this at some point later, just for funsies. Basically the way it works is you sit your character down in front of you, and in your mind, because this is a fictional character, right? You set them down in a chair in front of you and you start asking them questions. And, if you have a creative mind, which you wouldn't be here if you didn't, then you can kind of imagine what this person is saying back to you, and you kind of keep this up until you get a feel for the personality or until you've answered all the questions. I like to do this also with working out plot issues. So I like to sit a fictional person in a chair opposite me and start asking them questions about the plot. What should we do here? Especially if it's the character involved. Because sometimes I find that I get my author brain, this omniscient being, in the way. And sometimes I need to move author brain out of the way and let character brain take control of the scene. And that's how you have agency in your characters, is if their actions feel natural to them and affect the plot in a correct way. That's how it feels natural, is if your characters are in character and their decisions actually affect the plot of the story. Now, if you're a plantser, it can go either way, which ones to try, because it could be that you have run out of ideas, which means you need to go back to your outline and punch up your outline. Or if you've just lost the spark, then you need to do something outlandish. And a lot of times after that, you just need something to kind of unstick the hose, and then you can scrap the whole scene with the giraffe. That doesn't have anything to do with anything, but the plug is gone, and now you can start writing again. So we just need to shake it up, just get it unstuck. Okay. If you don't know how to write a plot, I will eventually do a series on writing plots, but not today and not right now. There is a book that I absolutely adore. It is absolutely the basis of everything that I write, from my novels to my novellas and short stories. It is called Story Structure Architect by Victoria Lynn Schmidt, PhD. She's a smart lady. She runs down a lot of plot structures, from the hero's journey to interactive to metadata to roller coasters or fate. So there are lots of different plot structures that she goes into. And, maybe one of them fits your story better than the one you've been working with. Just because it's week 3 doesn't mean that starting over is a failure, as long as you keep your words. Don't delete anything, right? can always edit later. You can't edit a blank page. So you just fill in the sandbox with sand, and you can build sandcastles later. That's my advice for the week 3 slump. If you are not doing great and you're starting to flag and you're starting to wonder, how am I going to make up all this time, assuming you're behind, that's my advice. Either revisit your outline or have a giraffe walk down the street. Just do something different than what you are doing. If what you're doing isn't working, it's not just going to start working. You need to switch it up. Find something else to make it work. Okay? Week 3 is culling the herd. Week 3 is getting rid of all the weaklings who can't hack it, okay? Once you get past week 3, once you have that last 10,000 words, you're going to start getting antsy. And this is, first of all, you're at the point. By the end of this week, you're going to be ramping up to your climax, hopefully. So things should be cooking, right? But by the time you round the corner and it's the last week, you're going to smell the finish line. It's going to be so close. You're not going to be able to slow down because it's right there. So, and that is when you get the really quintessential nano experience, because there will be times when I'll be going back and I'll be editing my work and I'll be like, oh, this was a nano chapter, because this is a chapter that should only be 1,500 words, but it's 4,500 words because she was really trying to drag this out. So you can tell the places where 5 words would have done, and I wrote it in 25 because I just had to make that. You know? You can always edit. You can always edit, right? So that's my advice. Shake it up, delete nothing, and just keep plugging away. And if you need help, write to me on Facebook, write to me on Instagram. I guess leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys. Well, I'll see you next week regardless, but hopefully we all make it through to May. That's the next month is May. Talking about nano, I just keep thinking it's December, and I'm like, oh, did I lose 2021 too? Like, I feel like 2020 was a blur, and now it's like, where did 2021 go? But we're still here. We're still here. Would you believe it? I have actually had my coffee and my electrolytes today. I should be here mentally, but anyway, Nano Blues. That's the song. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling now. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, because I'm still getting used to all of this, and I'm still trying to get established. Very new. Subscribe if you haven't. I did say it at the beginning, pretty sure. But if you haven't, you should. Leave a comment if you think this was helpful, or if you have any other ideas, or if you need help. And if you know anybody who is also in their week 3 slump, go ahead and share this video. Maybe some of my advice will help them. I had an unbroken record for 6 or 7 years, and I was a municipal liaison for one of those years. So maybe the advice will help. All right? Alrighty. All of the advice that I just gave you, do it. Okay? I will see you next week. Bye.